Hey, y'all, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Bethany.
And this is Looking for the Middle,
the Christian Girl's Guide to Modern Dating.
We are just two single girls trying to help you navigate dating well as Christian women.
And we're not alone in here today.
No, we're not. We are two single girls and a...
Not single boy.
Not a single boy. My brother Brett is here. Say hi, Brett.
How you guys doing?
So we are kicking off our mini-series to wrap up season 3 of these boys, guys, men interviews, whatever you call them.
Whatever you call them.
Yeah, whatever you call them these days. And Brett is the first one, and I'm so excited about this. I sent him the questions last week, and we've been going back and forth about them, and this is just going to be a really fun conversation. And you guys have been looking really forward to this. Y'all have influenced the questions that we're going to be asking.
Y'all had some really good questions.
Yeah, we had some really good ones come in when we asked for them on Instagram. So we've got quite the conversation to have today.
I don't know if we're going to be able to get all of them in the episode. Like, it's going to be long.
Yeah, so what we're going to do to make the whole thing available to you guys, because... 1, it's a lot of information, and 2, Brett's a talker, which you'll learn very quickly.
Don't know where you got that.
No, I know. It kind of runs in the family. But this will be the cut down, edited version that Bethany so masterfully creates when she edits. But we know that this is probably going to be too long to do the whole thing. So we're going to put the entire uncut version on our Patreon. So if you are a partner with us on Patreon, you get access to that. If you're not currently a partner on Patreon, you should go do that so that you can hear the full interviews, because we'll do the same thing with the other 2 guys.
Yeah.
So to do that, you can go to our website, lookingforthemiddle.com. You can click the resources tab at the top of the page, and the plethora of partnering options will be presented to you there, where you can pick and choose what you would like to get access to.
Content.
Yes, exactly. So that's that. But before we get started, Bethany is going to ask the question of the day.
Okay.
Bethany?
I forgot what it is. Hold on, let me find it. Okay. You can have an unlimited supply of one thing for the rest of your life.
Ooh.
What is it?
You want to go first?
You go first.
Oh, gosh. Did we ask this in the car?
I don't know. I just looked it up.
My first thought is makeup, because it's so
I didn't
expensive.
think about categories. I was thinking like one.
Oh, do I need to do one thing? Oh, that makes it harder. And money's not an answer.
No, that money can't be the answer. That's like wishing for more
The
wishes.
really practical side of me wants to say gas for my car.
Oh, that's a good one.
So I never have to pay for gas.
Because then you can pay for other things.
Exactly. I mean, that's $40 a week. Not 40. That's
Good
exaggerating.
night.
It's like 30. I'm sorry. I'm being dramatic. It's like $30 a week. But that's a shirt at Old Navy.
That's true. Okay, that's a good one.
Brett?
How specific do we need to be?
However specific you want to be.
You stumped me. Do you answer too?
Oh, yeah. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, mine, I think I'm going to go like super basic and obvious, but Oreos.
Oh.
Like, if I just had an unlimited lifetime supply of Oreos, I'd weigh 800 pounds, but I'd be happy about it.
Bethany has a very huge obsession with Oreos. This is like
I love
double
them.
stuffed?
No. Only the regular ones.
I like the double stuff. My girlfriend likes the thin ones. I'm like,
no,
what's the point of an Oreo?
Exactly. The cream to cookie ratio's just right on
I
the
like the
regular
double.
ones.
If they have the triple stuff,
No,
I'll take that
They
too.
have triple stuff.
I think it's called Mega Stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's what it is. Mom gets that for me. I'm an Oreo guy. I feel that. I would have to say, like, the nerdy side of me wants to say books or like digital courses, trying to get into business.
Oh, there you go.
Being able just to have an unlimited supply to that.
Those add up.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Look at you being the nerd. I'm normally the nerd.
I like that.
That's a great answer. Okay, so let's jump in.
Without further ado.
Yes. So, we've already said your name, Brett, but if you want to say your name, and say your name, your age, and if you want to say, like, what you do for a living, we didn't put that, but just out of curiosity, and your current relationship status.
Okay, so I'm Brett. I'm 24 years old. I'm a basketball skills trainer, so that's another reason I want to do the digital courses and stuff. I understand basketball, but really trying to get my own business going. Hopefully I can get a podcast like this one day, but you guys are doing some pretty big things, so excited to be on. My relationship status, I've been in a serious dating relationship for just at 2 years now, and because my girlfriend will probably listen to this, I won't say a timetable, but I would when I get financially stable, I guess you could say, or in a financial place that I'm comfortable with. I hope to get engaged in the not too distant future.
Okay.
Yes, her name's Keely. We love her. Hi, Keely, if you're listening. No, she's great. So let's
jump into the real questions?
Yes.
now? Okay, so what did you look for, like, in someone you're wanting to date? Like, what are the things that would, like, jump out to you? Physical traits, character stuff, personality, like, what are the big things that are important to you? We'll just jump
Yeah, so
that.
would you like me to go in a specific order?
It doesn't
or jump
matter.
around?
Just whatever
so
is important to you.
I don't know how much
guess.
Kristen's told you. I know she always had a list of things that she wanted. I never created a list, you could say. I just kind of thought when I saw it, I would know what I liked and what I don't like.
I feel like that's more common for guys.
Yeah.
Like, we write things down.
And they're like,
oh, she's I'll know
great.
when I see
like
it.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Physically, I like I've always been stereotyped as the basic girl, the trendy clothes, the Starbucks, the blonde, brunette hair, whatever. So, just kind of you could just say that kind of cliche girl. But you know what? What's interesting is I think a lot of people, one misconception I've kind of learned dating in the relationship I'm in now. I think that a lot of people think physical appearance is something you're kind of born with that you're not. And seeing like now how much she puts into that. So my girlfriend is, everyone says their girlfriend's beautiful. But seeing it, just to say I see how much though she puts into it. So she is naturally beautiful, but at the same time she does teeth whitening stuff and she hates to go to the tanning bed, but she goes, whatever you feel about that. But I joke with her when she goes on a trip, she takes 38 bottles of stuff but I see now that it is a process. I think, sometimes that some people say, oh, I'm not as, pretty as other girls or guys look physically. And I think we are naturally wired to see physical. I look at it. So again, I'm trying to get a business going, and so I've studied a lot of marketing things. Yeah. And you hear a lot of marketers that talk about like, if they can get you on the call, then they can sell it. They've got you.
Yeah.
And so I think of that kind of like dating. Like you might have a great personality or great character, and if you can get them on the date, you've got them.
That's a really good point.
To get them, I think the getting the call has a lot to do with that physical aspect. But I think a lot of people look at it as I either have it or I don't. And that's what I would have thought. I thought, either she has it or she doesn't. But I think there's a lot that you can put into that to how you look physically. So I would just say that for anybody that thinks that they don't or that they're not the typical, I think that you can drastically improve that.
Yeah, well, we even talked about that in our, we did an episode a few weeks ago on like putting your best foot forward, and it was about, okay, you don't have to necessarily look like a certain type, but you work what you've got.
Absolutely.
And it starts way before you're on the date.
Exactly. Like you're gonna get noticed that way. Hey, I'm gonna play to my strengths.
Yeah, take care of yourself. Put your best foot forward.
Exactly.
Well, I've started to observe since that point, and I've even seen times where she's gone with other friends and just different groups. I've noticed in general, and sometimes you'll see who the girl in the room is that everybody's looking at, and it's not always the girl that is the prettiest. It's the girl that is the most done up or that has put in the most effort. So if girl A is absolutely stunning, but she's in a big t-shirt and a hat and stuff, she might not catch as much attention as a girl who's a little less attractive but is dressed up and all put together. So I don't think it's always, like I said, the natural side of it. I think how much you put into it a lot of times, like anything else, is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, no, that's true. So then as far as like personality, character, like what were some traits that you were really
loyalty is the biggest thing for me from a character standpoint. I'll get into that a little bit, but that's very big to me, is being loyal. I'm going to be loyal to you, so I expect that back. Selflessness. I think most relationships fall apart or end in divorce because everyone's in a relationship to take. Mm-hmm. And I think that I'm going to give you everything I have, and so I want that in return. And then the biggest one, everyone says they want a God-fearing someone. I think of more God-trusting. It's, everyone says trust God, but I've just seen like how easy it is for me to trust God because he got me to the point where I had to. And while you can trust me not to cheat, I'm going to fail in a lot of areas. So trusting in a guy in areas, they're human, they're going to mess up. And I just can't be with someone who thinks that we have to figure everything out or that everything's going to depend on what we do, because I've just learned that I'm going to fail and screw up a lot. And so I'm going to give you my best, but I'm going to screw up. So someone who trusts in God even above me is absolutely essential. Those would be my biggest character things. And then just personality. I like I like the sassy. I'm very sarcastic, and if you're not sassy and don't give it back to me, I'll run over you. So that's a big one. Just outgoing, someone who's fun and likes to have a good time, likes sports, likes to compete. That's what I always say. Everyone always likes sports, but any time is a good time to compete to me. So someone who understands that and is good with that and then just someone who's passionate, I would say, whatever it is about, but what gets you up, what drives you. What's something that, what do you live for, are you passionate about? Yeah. And those would be my biggest things for sure.
No, those are really good. I love those. So you might not have a physical list, but you definitely have like a mental list, I would say.
Like I said, I thought when it hits you,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you learn kind of as you date what you're looking for.
Yeah,
right.
It's a refining process for sure.
So then when you are interested in a girl, so when you liked Keely before y'all started dating, what were some things you did to let her know that you liked her? This is like the golden question. Right. Girls are always like, okay, is he just being nice to me? Or does he like me?
How do you differentiate?
This one's tricky. This one's tricky. And so it's different for me because, and I don't want to sound like a jerk. Every girl I dated was dating someone previously. No, my goal wasn't to stop. And with Keely especially, I was very respectful and I didn't try to butt in. I wanted to make her aware. Because again, like I said, I like the girl that a lot of guys like. So if you're not aggressive, once they get out of one, everybody will be interested in it. So for me, it wasn't about stealing her as much as if your relationship goes bad, I'm here.
I'm here.
So
raise my hand.
But no, this is an interesting question for me. In my experience, and I've had a lot of experience with guys in general because I played basketball my whole life. So high school, college, that's 8 years between the two. And we talked about basketball and girls. I mean, that was the only two things we talked about. And I understand the baseball and football guys are the same way. You talk about your sport and you talk about girls. And so I think that in my experience, I think it's pretty typical that you're going to let a girl know if you like her. So here's where I differentiated it. Some guys don't necessarily like one girl, but they know whether they would date a girl or not. But there could be multiple of those girls. So I went to school with a bunch of guys, and typically if they didn't make a move, it's because they didn't necessarily just like that girl, but they would certainly, if the opportunity presented itself, they would date her. Or if not, then there's another girl. Like, there's multiple girls, but they always know. For the most part, I think guys know right away. Like I said, the physical part's gonna reel them in, and then if they, what they always say is she's cool, she's a cool girl, and what cool girl means is I like hanging out with her. Her personality is great, and I would date her. Is typically the kind of the guy basic
that's what
answer.
That really means.
Yeah, when he says she's cool. Yeah, typically that's what they mean. I think girls are too naive a lot of times in this, and they think he's just being nice. Here's the reality. If a guy is talking to you consistently, he's not doing so to be a friend. And here's and girls like to think that. Now here's the difference. And again, I see this with my girlfriend. If it's a childhood friend or early on, then that's different. But if a guy's come out of nowhere, in the 2 years that I've dated her, nobody has come since me and been a lasting friend. If they're talking to you a lot, if they're finding ways to be in places that you're at, if they at any point very early ask if you're in a relationship, that is not a conversation starter. That is, are you dating someone? And again, you have to, in this day and age, you have to ask what their intentions are, but they are not typically talking to you just to add a friend to their friend list. And so that's what I would say, at least. And again, if they're not, then it's typically that they haven't made a move because there's multiple. But they know without a shadow of a doubt if they would date you or not. It's not usually a I don't know about it thing. They typically know. And I think girls a lot of times, though, that's what they do. Oh, he's just nice. And if he is consistently talking to you, then there's definitely some intention behind it.
So like you're saying, immediately, more or less.
Yes.
And if it's a no, then you're not going to.
Exactly. So that's what that next question of how you don't like. Yeah. I think it's a matter of priorities. And I think that everybody, you hear I don't have time. Everybody has time for what's a priority to them. And I think about at some point in time with my girlfriend now, everything else in my life, I haven't given it up necessarily, but I have given up for it at a time to make her a priority. Sleep. I've given up sleep. I've given up. I mean, there was times that I hadn't eaten for hours, and I had to be at a certain place at a certain time to surprise her, and I didn't have time to eat. And some people are like, oh, I have to eat, I have to sleep, whatever. Well, it's a matter of priorities. And so I think that, for me personally, I think that if you do like a girl, you will make her a priority. And I think any girl who's, I don't think girls are entitled to it, but I think that if you are a girl that wants to give a guy value, that you think you can bring value to a relationship and make his life better, and you want to be that for him, then I think every girl that does that does deserve to be a priority in a guy's life.
I would agree.
No, that's good. As you've had your dating history journey, whatever you want to call it, what's some of the best dating advice you've ever been given? Also, I would like to know who gave it to you, because I'm curious.
Okay, for sure. And the best dating advice I got is
just hoping it's her that gave it to you.
That's not. I'm sorry. The best dating advice I've ever been given is actually, funny enough, after I've already in the relationship I've been now. But I think it's absolutely golden. It comes from Andy Stanley. It's become the person that you're looking for is looking for. And that goes back to what I just said. I think that when people become the best version of themselves, you're going to attract the best type of people. And that's what I wish I'd done. I think a lot of people in the world today, we have a friend group and these best friends and your mom and people that are, you deserve better and he doesn't deserve you, or you don't, what do they always tell you? Don't settle, don't give in, and all that stuff, and all of that's great. But I think that, and even I've heard him say before, not in the same context, but everyone thinks they're special, and they're not. Like you think that you deserve the best of the best in whatever way, and the thing is, if you aren't preparing yourself to be the best of the best, then what about you deserves to get the best of the best?
Right.
And so I think that's a huge thing. I think that people chase relationships and they think, if I have this relationship, my life's going to be so much better. The same problem, I mean, there's a lot of great things that come from a relationship, but the problems you had before don't go away. The struggles you have, the weaknesses, and none of that changes. And I think that you can absolutely have a greater relationship and be with somebody that is greater, but you need to be taking the steps to become that person. We talked about it earlier physically, but it works for everything. Your character flaws, or even personality. Some people are, forgetful. Okay, well, practice writing stuff down. Just anything. Like being aware of how can I be better. And by becoming better, and the more value you can bring to a relationship, the more you're going to attract someone else that is higher value. Yeah. And that's just that goes for anything. I think the highest level people in anything. I mean, we're all created equally, but what you become is a lot on what you do. Yeah. And I think you're going to attract the people, because people with high value and people that are the best looking and have the great family life, and they go visit kids in their free time, all the stuff that everybody wants, those people don't stay single long because everybody sees that value.
Right.
So,
and they don't have all of those things because it just happened to
exactly
them. They spend a lot of time working at that.
Exactly.
And like you were saying, talking about maybe you're forgetful. Like, it's not necessarily about changing yourself. Yeah. It's about being aware enough about who you are and what some of those weaknesses are, to say, okay, what can I do to minimize this, or what can I do to make it as workable as possible? Like you're saying with being forgetful, well, you can't necessarily change being forgetful. Right. But you can be aware that you are and say, well, yeah, okay, I'm going to write stuff down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or I'm going to keep a to-do list in my phone, or put reminders. Right. Even if it's, because I had a thing for a while of I wanted to be more intentional, just like with friendships and with people, of being more thoughtful, whether just little things here and there. And in my mind, well, it's not very sincere if I put a reminder in my phone that Susie has a big doctor's appointment on Thursday, and then I text her because my phone reminded me. I'm like, well, that's not very caring, because my phone had to tell me. But I was like, but I'm not going to remember if I don't put it in my phone, so I'm not going to text her. So I was like, well, I'll just start putting stuff in my phone, and it's helped. And I just had to get over that mental block of maybe it doesn't seem as sincere, but I am sincere on Monday when I put it in my phone for Thursday. Yeah. And so just learning how to kind of work those things around, it's not about changing necessarily. Right.
And I think it's not only just attracting the people, it's your relationship in general is going to be better. A lot of people want things from a relationship. Okay, well, you've got to give to get.
Put that thing into
it. So if you want someone to be selfless, if you want them to surprise you with something, be the type of person that surprises them.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's something different for them, but whatever it is that you need from them, you've got to be willing to and be able to give just as much, if not more. And you'll start to see a return that you're getting the things that you want. But you've got to, again, nobody's just, I'm special, give it all to me and heck with you.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely the best advice. And for some people, you have two choices if you're not in the relationship you want to be with. If you're single, you can rush and go find somebody who's not the type of person you want to be with. Make the mistake over and over again, not having what you really want, or you're going to be single anyway. If not, so why not spend that time becoming that best version of yourself? You can waste your time, or you can put that effort. So when it happens, it's everything you want it to be.
Okay.
I'm excited about this question.
Okay, so now that we've got all that figured out, everything straightened out about yourself and what you should do, what are some things that completely confuse you about girls? Because, we could rattle off a list about guys, no problem. So I know there have to be some things that you're just like, what?
Girls just really overthink things.
No, we don't.
My answer is my answer. If I like something, I say I like it. If I don't, I say I don't. If I love it, I love it. Okay, if I want to go somewhere, I'll tell you I want to go. Girls listen to tone, hesitancy, or you hesitated. I had to think about what I was saying. So, I think girls, and the problem is because girls overthink, they'll play these mind games. So, what do you like, this outfit or this outfit better? And you choose one. Oh, so you don't like that one? No, I like that one better. So I just think, and then they expect, I guess they think that we play the same game, so they're overthinking that we're thinking something. The answer I give you,
what we're thinking.
The answer I give you is the answer I mean. It's just way too confusing.
That's fair. That makes sense.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Any others? Point.
You remember my last one. I guess this one should have gone under confusing, but I just don't understand. Girls do not want their problems to be solved. They just want to complain about them. And I don't understand. I'm the type of person that, and I guess this goes back to what I said about becoming the best version of yourself, because to me it's I want something, so let me figure out how I can get it. And so it just blows my mind when I can give you a solution to a problem that gives you what you want, and you don't want to be given what you want. You rather complain that it's not the way you want it to be, and that just confusing, quit, kind of both.
Yeah.
But I just don't. To me, if I have a problem, what's the quickest way I can solve it so I can have exactly what I want?
Yeah.
So
that's funny.
Yeah.
We talk about that.
I was gonna say,
Bethany is actually like that.
I'm a fixer.
Okay.
And so I'm the one
my girlfriend's not.
Yeah.
Kristen's not.
We had this conversation in the car
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago of when I want to just vent, I have friends
not
for that.
Call me.
No, if I need a solution, I call Bethany.
Yep.
And Bethany's like, okay, here's what you need to do, and here's your plan, and this is what you do,
say
and I'll help
this.
you. But if I just want to talk and cry, I'll call Lindsay or Melanie or something, and they'll just kind of let me go, and then we'll come back around.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you so upset about this? Because if you would just do X,
Exactly.
Y, Z, this wouldn't be a problem.
Absolutely.
So I feel you on that one,
Absolutely.
because I'm definitely a fixer.
It drives me crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think that's a wide ranging opinion with guys. I have a feeling that might come up a lot in these conversations. Oh my gosh, because Bethany's definitely not in the majority as a girl to be that way.
Well, that's a great quality.
Oh gosh. Okay, so Brett, in your humble opinion, what do guys think, or what do you think?
So you can speak on behalf
of all men if you want to, or just yourself. What do guys think when a girl makes the first move?
Yeah, so I have an interesting perspective on it. I actually have three kind of different thoughts about this. My first thought is, I left this out of the personality and character traits. I think the sexiest thing about a girl is confidence. I mean, without a doubt. And so to me, a girl who makes the first move is just coming off confident. And I think a lot of guys think of it that way. I think some people have this misconception that's... I don't know what word you want to put it.
Too forward?
Yes, to put it nicely. I think a lot of people say worse than that, but I don't. I think it's a confidence thing of I know what I want and I'm going to go for it. And I don't think, and again, what I said earlier, guys typically know whether they would talk to you or not. So for the most part, that you're coming up is just speeding up that process. They already know you didn't change their mind positively or negatively by approaching them. And again, to me, it's going to be more often positive, because that confidence is definitely something that, to me, if you're not, you're worried about, oh, well, he should make the first move, or what would he think if, and that doesn't come across as confident. And to me, when I see a girl the girls that just, this is how I am, not to the point that you're like bragging about flaws, but with everything else, like, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and this is what I'm going to be, and they don't think, that's super attractive. And so I don't have a problem with it at all. And it's like, the second thing I would say, as I mentioned earlier, some guys, like, I was the type that I always made the move myself, not because I never was once thinking I'm the guy, so I need to make the first move. It was, this is what I want, so I'm going to go for it. So I'm different than a lot of guys, than a lot of guys I know that, like I said, I played basketball with in college and high school. Some guys, they just have prospects, you could say, that there's multiple girls they would date. And so if that girl made the first move and it was one of them, then they would absolutely go out with her. So they haven't made a move because, like I said, they're interested in a lot of girls, and they're not crazy about enough to go for one yet. But I've seen many instances where it ends up working out, and they do fall even harder and stuff because that girl made the first move. And then the third thing I would say is, it kind of goes back to what I said about how I approached it. I hate hearing no more than anybody. I strategically find ways to get answers without ever having to hear the word no. I just don't like it. It's a terrible thing. I wish I wasn't like it. But every time that I have asked to go out, I made the move, and I did take that risk, because my mind was, oh my gosh, what could I miss if I don't do it? Was a no-brainer, and nothing. I can't think of many things in my life that I went for like that, because to me it was, I don't want to miss my chance for this. And I asked my girlfriend, obviously she was in a relationship before, but if she had gotten out of that, would she have ever made the first move on me? And she said no, she doesn't make the first move. And and it's not because it's me, but I just want to give this example. She texts me all the time about this is a dream, and this is a fairy tale, and all this stuff that she just thinks our relationship is something she could never have. And I thought, you wouldn't have made the first move. So, and she probably would have still been with the guy that it was a terrible relationship. She was miserable, and she talked about she probably would have married him. Oh, wow. And so what could you not have because you're worried about a first move? Like, to me, that's just crazy that a guy should make the first move. I don't look at, like I said, I didn't make the first move because I was a guy. I made the first move because, to me, it was, and I can't think from a girl's perspective, so I don't know if I would have if I was a girl, but to me, it wasn't that I was a guy. It was, I want this so bad, and what could I miss if I don't have this? So to me, if a girl is really crazy about a guy, she's not going to negatively affect her chances by taking that. To me, I would definitely say go for it, because, again, what could you miss? And even for somebody who hates the word no, a no is absolutely worth missing out on something that could be really great.
The potential of that missed reward outweighs the risk of being told no. And we've talked about, like, that balance has to tip.
Yes.
Either way.
Yeah.
For whether it's a guy making a move or a girl, like, you have to get to that point and then go for it.
Yeah. This wasn't on the list, so I'm just going to ask it anyways. But so we talk a lot about making the first move without making the first move, or like letting a guy know you're interested without necessarily being the one going up and be like, hey, will you go out with me?
Yeah, we talk about you can tee it up, but you don't have to swing. Like, tee it up for him to swing.
Like, you flirt with him, and you talk to him, and you're in places that he's in, and you make eye contact with him from across the room, or whatever. What are your thoughts on, like, is that...
Absolutely. Okay. So, many guys are going to ask girls out when they're confident that they know you're going to say yes. So all the times that I asked to go out, I didn't straight up I definitely put it out there that it was very clear I liked you. And for me, every experience was quickly reciprocated. And so when you can, the quicker you can reciprocate that back, the better. And this goes to the point of, if you have that naive viewpoint of he's just being nice, and you try and stay neutral, you might be costing yourself. And again, that's why I tend towards I tend towards the side of, you should be, if they're talking to you that frequently, you should tend towards the side of they do like me, and so let me show it back. When they're paying you compliments, pay them compliments back. Make it, the more clear you can make it, and the more confident they are that you like them, the quicker they'll be to ask you.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay.
So then, kind of in that same vein, for the guys who maybe are more fearful of asking a girl out, or they can't quite tell whether or not she's interested, maybe she is just really bad at showing it, what are some things we can do from the girl's perspective to like give a guy that confidence of like, hey, I'm going to say yes if you ask me out? Or what are things that might alleviate that fear of rejection or the risk that's involved there?
Okay, so I kind of thought of this from a positive and a negative point. Okay, so from whether you say yes or no. So again, saying yes, I just think that you quickly reciprocate. I mean, as clear as guys typically make it is you can be just as clear back. So if I'm standing close to you, you can stand closer. If I'm consistently paying you compliments, pay me compliments. If I'm asking guys, a lot of times when guys are interested, they're going to ask you endless questions because especially when you're communicating through any type of text messaging, phone, anything like that, they're worried that the conversation is going to die without a question. And so ask them questions back. We don't like to ask you a million questions and you just tell us about your shot. As great as that is, then we want to know at some point, okay, if you're interested, you would care about me back.
So far, that is the one thing that is absolutely the same for girls. Like, we talk a lot about, like, okay, ask him questions, but if every time you ask a question, he's just sending you an answer and he's not asking any questions, he's not interested.
Absolutely. Yeah. So questions would be a big one. But yeah, just the quicker you can reciprocate back, like the more confident and like you said, flirting and compliments and just anything suggesting relationship at all, the quicker you do that, the more confident they're going to be to ask. And then I would say if you're not interested, the best thing you can do is make it as least of a painful experience as possible. So, like I said, my girlfriend gets DMs weekly, and she never makes it feel like it's how they look. Even you should see some. I mean, some of these guys, I can't believe the confidence they have. I was worried. I would have never talked to her before I found out from somebody else that she thought I was attractive.
Yeah.
I'm not in that girl's league. And so some of these blow my mind, but she never makes them feel like it's how they look or who they are. It's always me, or I have a boyfriend, or I'm in a relationship, or something along those lines. And I think even if you're not in a relationship, you could say you're busy with school and stuff like that. And we talked about priorities earlier, so it makes it clear to them that you're not interested without really hitting who they. I'm not interested in you, or I don't want to go out with you. And I think that that's important because even though you're not going to be with that person, guys are going to talk. So who knows if you reject somebody and their best friend is Mr. Perfect, and he's interested in asking you out, and he asks, what do you think? And what's his experience? It's like, negative. No. And so leaving guys with positive experiences, or it's not positive, but not negative or painful experitions.
You don't want to tear them down as a person.
Right.
Yeah.
If they don't feel like you rejected them for who they are or how they look, then I think they're more likely to do it again. Yeah. If it's something of you embarrassed me or made me feel like I'm less or something, then that guy's going to be very hesitant to ever do that again. And when his friends ask advice, he's probably going to share his experiences too.
And understandably so.
I would do the same thing. If a guy
on the flip side,
I'd be like, oh my gosh, he was such a jerk to me.
And the next guy probably will do the same thing.
Yeah. So then it makes you not only like hesitant yourself, but then you go tell your friends, oh, we're going to steer clear of him. And that's an interesting point. About it that way. All right, so the golden question. This was my favorite.
And this one got asked several times in several different ways. So we're summing them all up here.
Yes. I think Kennedy was the one that said it. So Kennedy, if you're listening, hello. I tutored Kennedy a couple years ago. So she's been a faithful follower. Are guys ever just friends with the girl without wanting to date her?
Yes or no?
Oh, hesitation.
So my initial...
No, I said yes or no. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
So my initial... When I first read this question, I said no. And so the first time I thought of it, I thought no.
That's your gut reaction.
Thought back.
Okay.
Here's what I would say. There's a lot of stipulations that you can put on it. So I'm pretty good friends with several of my girlfriend's friends.
Okay.
And I've even gone to my girlfriend's brother's football game with her without my girlfriend being there. She had a basketball game. Now, having said that, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot that goes into that. So I don't message them. There's no texting communication or phone calls. I might send them something to pick on them because of something that you just have as in terms of a friendship, but the conversation does not extend. I hang out with them typically. Like I said, that was a rare occurrence. Right. Typically, it's always in larger group settings. settings with my girlfriend. And I think for me, the biggest thing is I have those friends because of her. So as I referenced earlier, hanging out with guys that are on sports teams, we talked about two things, sports and girls. And those sports conversations went deep. So we could have an hour conversation on who's a better player. Girls aren't interested in those types of conversations, typically, vast majority. So we want to talk about it's not just, oh, I like football, basketball. It's deep. And then, or we talk about the girls that we're interested in.
Yeah.
So if you're not that girl, then, and you don't have ties to that girl, then there's not a lot of communication we can have. A lot of our conversations, even that night, was my girlfriend, because you're friends with her and she's my girlfriend. So that's our common ground. And then we can kind of go from there, but it's very understood. And even then I'm very cautious because my girlfriend's dramatic and her friends are dramatic. So I'm very cautious of never letting the wrong message be sent.
Sure.
And there's always that awareness. And then I think if you're just friends with one in general, there's always people are going to ask that question. So I would just say, you can, but it's not just a typical, and what I've said is, I met those through large groups with her and those being her friends. Or like I said, my girlfriend has guys that are friends from a young age. So she has a 900-day Snapchat streak with the guy who, friends from very little,
grew up together,
right? And I don't care if they hang out at if just them go out to lunch or something. So I think relationships like that and stuff is totally fine at this point in your life. If you are singling somebody out, you just meet them somewhere and then you just want to hang out with them and you just want a friendship with them, and there is no larger group context or anything, or there's no backstory or all, like I said, there's all that just for me to be friends with them. If there's not that, then I would absolutely say no. A guy is not looking to just add one friend in you with hangouts on your own. So I'd say that it's a complicated way, but because originally I said no, and for the most part I would strongly lean towards no. I think there's a lot of conditions that are put on that friendship for it to be okay.
So going back to when you were single, because I feel like it's different then too. Were you friends with girls that you absolutely wouldn't date?
Not really.
Yeah. And that's fine. I just,
I was friends with one girl who was trying to set me up with the girl I'm with now, and ended up successfully doing so. So I didn't even talk. She was a senior. I was a junior. In my first 2 years of college, I don't think we had 10 minutes of conversation all together. And we talked all that year because the very beginning of the year, she goes, "I hear you like my girl Keely." And so I'm like, I didn't know how she knew that. And so, but from then she tells me that night, I can help you. So from then on, we're friends. I have her number. We text. But it was always, again, it was about that. So no, I just don't typically. Yeah. But for me, again, so, and other guys could be different. But I think for the most part, guys are interested in, even if you're not a sports guy, you like video games or you like art or whatever it is, you're typically into your passion and girls. And to me, it's the question I ask is, what can that girl give me that I'm not getting in a relationship I already, like I said, I love basketball. That's my career. That's my profession. I spend most of my time in basketball if it's not with her. And so if you're not on like that, if I'm not helping you in basketball, I can help you with that. Or if you're a professional or something and there's something I can help you with. But in terms of just a genuine friendship, I don't know how much I can give to you and that you can give to me that can't be given from somewhere else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a good point. Okay, so with that in mind, this was a last minute ad, so sorry to put you on your toes. When it comes to sports,
I love this question because I've wondered this.
Yes. Yeah. And y'all know Bethany and I are a huge sports fan. Brett is like my living version of ESPN, if you couldn't already tell. So when girls are talking about sports with a guy.
Now we probably overthink this.
Yes,
let's just
probably
throw that out there.
So
I love it.
How much should girls talk about sports with guys, or like how much is too much? Because
a lot of times I know more than they do, but I don't feel like I should let them know that. Or they're talking and I'm like, you're wrong about that. That's not.
Or girls try too hard to show. Or that. I've done that where I'm like, I want to prove that I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Here. And especially with basketball, because that's where I'm most comfortable. And so I want you to know that I know what defense they're running, and I know this play, and I know these players, and I know who coaches this team. But I also don't want to be one of the guys either.
Yeah.
So how do you walk that line?
So you guys are deep. I didn't know we were going that deep of sports fan.
Yes.
For me, this is difficult for me not to be arrogant, but I haven't come across a girl yet that knows it deeper than I do. Probably because I'm very obsessed. So and if they did, it wouldn't intimidate me because of how much I feel that I know. So if I don't know the answer, like my girlfriend now didn't know anything about the NBA. She knew what the NBA was, and she likes basketball, but now she could name, half the league. And so, and because she's on social media, she'll tell me some stuff sometimes that I didn't know, and it doesn't bother me. Are we talking like getting into like early stages of a relationship or trying to get into? I think you should be comfortable enough deep in the relationship that if you know more.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I think it's almost more like maybe you're
like
not dating someone.
Yet.
So I think
you don't,
just a little is enough.
Okay.
I would say that the more you know, it's going to be impressive to them. Two things I would say. A lot of guys aren't going to want you to overstep them because if they like you, they're trying to impress you too. So at the point you know more, they've realized that I'm not impressing you. So if you cannot overstep that, and two, a lot of guys are just like, oh, you know sports, that's awesome. The second thing I would say though is like they want to talk about sports, but if they like you, that's just an entry point. Like I want to get into like you and me, so I love sports as much as anybody. But if you sit here and talk to me about sports for 2 hours. Like I've got buds for that. At some point when we're going out, like you know what I'm saying. So I would say like definitely not encourage arguing about it. You could be playful, like this is your team, that's their team, but stats or strategy or anything, guys don't expect any girl to know that stuff. It'll be impressive later on, or even to me, like for me, it's impressive now because it doesn't bother me. But if you can tell that a guy is trying to be impressive with it, I would tend to stay away from stats or strategy or anything deep. Let them know you know players and teams and what's going on right then. That stuff's very impressive. But yeah, I wouldn't have deep conversations about it, and I wouldn't do it for 2 hours.
It's short and sweet.
Yes. Okay, so then I love that this question actually was specified for sporty guys, but what are some date ideas that sporty guys or guys that are into that kind of thing, that they would like?
Okay. Don't say hiking.
Yeah, please don't say hiking.
I wasn't going to say hiking. But here's the deal. So it's not, again, I have two things to this. One is, so if you want just to answer the question, date ideas, guys like to do anything active. So bowling, mini golf. I went for my birthday. My girlfriend took me to like an arcade that had like the basketball shooting games. It had like, it was pretty cool. It had like app games that everybody knew that were like real life.
Oh wow!
So it's pretty cool. It had dartboards, pool, everything, and so there was like 5 or 6 of us, and we just I love to compete. So it was winning and losing all day, and so I enjoy that. But guys like anything active like that. Obviously you can take us to a game. You can just cook or buy food like wings or something, and if it's a big game and you're aware of that and then you've set that up, here's the biggest thing. To me, it's not about what we're doing. I want you to be engaged in it if you're going to be there. So like you're not going to enjoy if I like chick flicks, but just for a guy in general. If you don't like chick flicks, you're not going to enjoy if I take you to a movie and I pout the whole time. Yeah. Because I'm not really being like, I took you to this, but I just ruined it for you.
Yeah.
If you plan to, and it's not that I'm not going to generalize you girls, but I know a lot of girls, they like to watch games. Well, what that means is the TV is on, but at least half of the game I'm on my phone. And that's not a date to me. Like, that's not like, if you're going to do that, then don't, it's sweet that you bought me wings and that you planned this out, but if you're going to be on your phone half the time, that to me, that's not a fun. Yeah. I'd rather go do something where you have your phone down. But if you're going to do something or you're trying to think of a great idea and you're going to go all out for him, don't, even if whatever game it is, don't bring the phone. You can check it every now and then, but for the most part, you should be having a conversation about the game, or even if the conversation shifts, that's fine, but you need to be very present in what's going on and what's happening, because otherwise, whether you go to the game or whether you're just watching it, whatever, I want you there present, or I could have just watched this by myself.
Yeah.
So I definitely discourage as much phone as possible.
Yeah. Well, and I would think for, because she asked specifically, sporty guys, kind of what you were saying, anything that probably involves an element of competition,
yes,
they're going to be all about that.
Oh, yeah.
So
we can go, play paintball or go-kart race. Anything you can think of where you're going to do something active and be in the role of the person that is doing something. That's all. It's all fun. It doesn't have to be an actual, a ball playing sport.
And so I would say from that standpoint, if you're the girl trying to plan something for that, maybe super sporty things aren't your thing. Because I feel like that was kind of the question is I'm not into this, so I don't know what to do. So maybe you're not going to do something that's inherently competitive. Like you said, it doesn't have to have a ball sport involved.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do something that you both enjoy, find a way to some off the wall to bring some competition into whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
Because you're engaged, like you were saying, because you're enjoying what you're doing, but then he is too because there's that element of competition.
Yes.
So you don't have to become a go-kart aficionado to make that enjoyable. It's not a matter of him enjoying it and you not. Just, bring those two together.
Well, and I'm always a proponent of being competitive is a great way to flirt. So
oh, totally.
You're trash talking and you're...
I love trash talking.
Yes. So that's just a fun way to...
put a little bet on it, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that before.
Uh-huh.
So, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Okay, so last question. I'm very intrigued to see what you have to say on this question. Was this a hard one for you?
Something new.
Well, if you repeat yourself, that's fine. If you could tell the girls listening one or two things just about dating or relationships or singleness, just anything that you would like to encourage them with or warn them about or anything, what would you tell them?
So I'll throw one new thing and then I'll repeat one. The new thing I'd say is something that's not really new. Everybody knows it. It's so cliche, but be yourself. I think so many people change or try to change for somebody and it's just miserable. I can look at my relationship now and it's funny. If I had dated my girlfriend earlier in life, I don't think she would have been interested in me, or quite possibly wouldn't have been interested in the earlier version of her. And so I think that God will bring you to the right place at the right time with the right person. So I had to wait. I prayed for it for 3 years before it ever happened. Well, and I'm sitting there, why is this taking so long? It wouldn't have worked at the time that I wanted it to. And it wouldn't have been the same. I wasn't the same person. Mm-hmm. She wasn't the same person. And that's through God changing you to refine you who you want to be, not you changing kind of how your person. It wasn't personality changes or it's a lot of growth stuff, but it's not. God made you to be who you are. Like that's who you need to be, and it's going to lead you to the person you need to be with. So I think there's never a good excuse to change who you are for somebody. If that's the case, that's not the person. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, so being who you are, and then what I said earlier, just being the best version of yourself, because I think you're going to attract, you're going to attract the type of person that you need to be with because of who you are, but then you're going to attract the best type of person of who you want to be with by becoming the best version of yourself. And it's gonna end up weeding out the people who aren't, because people who know they're not good enough, like I know guys who know they're not good enough for a girl, they don't want to change that much, and so you're gonna quit wasting your time on somebody or thinking, well, should I give him a shot? And you're going to find the best of the best people, and like I said, the best of the best don't sit long. Like people realize it, but I think everybody has areas that they could be better in. So finding those areas and just being, like I said, being the best version, and then that puts you in the best position to find the best person for you. But those would be the two things I would say.
That's good. Yep. Yeah, I'm like feeling a proud sister moment. This was so fun.
I appreciate you guys having me.
Oh, thanks for being here. This is
so insightful.
Yes, it really is. Just, I feel like I'm eventually going to get to the point where I'm like, oh, this will all make sense. It never does. It's always like, oh, wow.
But what
about this? Or what do they think? And I know God probably sits up smiling and be like, oh, if you people only knew how differently I created you and how differently I
Well, y'all gave me a little insight today, not that hopefully I never need it again, but what y'all said about that girls wouldn't reject nearly as many things. I think that's a kind of golden nugget that a lot of guys don't realize, and I think that they think that there's a lot of I think a lot of girls are associated with high maintenance, and so they think that high maintenance kind of is going to be thought of on them too. And so that there is a lot of things that they would reject them. So that was pretty insightful to me too.
Well, good.
And I think a lot of guys, that's why they're hesitant to make the first move. Because
we should say that a little louder next time.
Yeah, hey, in case you are listening. No. All right, guys. Well, that's all we have for today. Thanks so much for joining us for this first of our 3-part series. Next week, we're going to be interviewing our friend Gabe. And then our last week, we will be interviewing our friend Matt, who we've actually mentioned a couple times on here. So y'all are probably familiar with him. But still a lot of information to take in. But this was super awesome. So thanks for being here, bud.
Thanks so much.
Thank y'all for having me.
We will be back on Friday with another Couch Cast. But until then, I'm Kristen.
And I'm Bethany.
And this is Looking for the Middle.